Good morning. Today is Monday, November 6th, and this is our Monday morning training. My name is Adam Brsan, and I will have Chris Smith on here in about a minute or so. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about overcoming objections. Now, if you've yet to subscribe, we actually started a podcast that you can get on it's broadcast on Apple, on Amazon, and what's the other, and on Spotify. So I wanted to mention that as well. We actually did a podcast this past week talking about objections and overcoming objections. This is going to be a little bit more extensive than that. And feel free to stop us as we go. Maybe you have a objection that you ran into that you weren't quite sure how to handle it. Maybe it ended up costing you a sale because you went back to your car and you just were like, man, I wish I would have known what to say. Anything like that, put it in the comments. And if it's not an objection that's on our list that we're going to be going through, we'd be happy to go over it. I was just telling Chris off camera, I don't know if there's really many scenarios that an agent could run into that I haven't already run into in my 21 years in the business. We're pretty good at knowing how to handle those sort of things when they come up. So I'm going to bring Chris on now. Hey, good morning, Chris. How you doing?
I'm live in the basement today. We got some construction upstairs, so hopefully there's not too much knocking. There's nobody door knocking in the house. It's just pardon the background noise today.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks again for coming on and helping me with this. Let's go ahead and get started. So, let's see. All right, so I have a list of different objections here, and we'll just kind of go through them one by one. And you can kind of maybe provide a little bit of input, and then I'll kind of follow up with you. So, just these are common objections. These are things that we see, I bet almost every week I run into one of these objections, or at least almost all of them probably. I hear at some point throughout the week talking to enough people. So like I said, and feel free to add any as we go. Let's see. So far, doesn't look like we have any. Okay. Yeah, someone threw one on there. That's a good one. Yeah, we'll get to that. So
outstanding.
All right. So first one, this is like the most basic, any, sort of objection that is in my opinion, just trying to get the person out the door. They just think all they have to say is this one little thing, and it's enough for an agent to say, oh, okay, well, let me know when you're ready. So the first objection, everything sounds good, but I have to think about it and get back to you. How do you handle that one, Chris?
Well, I think it's important first to remember that you aren't the first agent that's ever been in their home. And if you think that you're kind of fooling yourself, you're probably the fifth this year. And this worked on the last person. Like they tried this line and it made the last person go away. So they're going to try it again. But also more practically speaking, this is an issue with urgency. This is an issue with value. This is an issue with helping them understand they can't get this later. This isn't like going to McDonald's when they're hungry. This is the opportunity to get the insurance because later on it may not be there for them. So realistically, this is a value and urgency and the fact that there isn't anything to think about if you have given a quality presentation.
No, that makes sense. I've heard people say, well, what exactly is it that you have to think about? That can work, but again, they're going to just come back with something pretty vague. Again, you're right about the urgency. And I think sometimes maybe you just need to take charge as an agent and you just need to say, well, I wish I could give you a chance to think about it. But we've had such a huge response of people reaching out to us that need this. I wish I could give you a chance to think about it and come back, but I really have no idea when I'm going to be back over this way. It's like, if we can't do it today, I don't think we're going to be able to help you. I'm not afraid to say that in a house because I know going in that, chances of follow up are pretty slim. I would say maybe 5 out of 100, you're actually going to go back and write some business. I think too, a lot of the times though, when it comes to just the whole, I have to think about it. The only thing they really have to think about is if they can afford it. And it could be that they just can't afford it today. They need to realize that we don't need the money up front. We can always draft that premium payment. I mean, heck, right now it's the 6th of the month. I mean, we could draft that payment on the 1st of December, the 3rd of December, and it's fine. So I think a lot of times they just feel like when you're there, like they have to spend some money. And that's really not the case. So I think a lot of the times that's just the easiest way to overcome it. Is it about the money? Because if it's about the money, I don't need anything today. When do you get paid?
I also think it's important that they are understanding that, like we said, you can't get it later, but that this is an emotional purchase. This isn't a logical decision. Like there isn't anything to think about because you're not thinking about purchasing final expense coverage. You're feeling that it's important that you have somebody you want to protect, that you don't have the money set aside to bury you, and that you can't afford to save it anyway because you wouldn't have done it before. This isn't thinking. This is feeling and purchasing. The people we're sitting in front of are also not thinkers. They're doers and they're feelers. So realistically, there is nothing to think about. This is an emotional purchase.
And I think a lot of times they've been thinking about it for a real long time. It takes somebody like us to show up to say, I think you've been thinking about it long enough. It's time to take some action and get this done. The longer you think about it, things change. Your health changes. What we can get you today, there's no guarantee we can get you tomorrow. So again, just kind of creating that urgency. So let's move ahead and let's see which one is next. I don't want anyone getting into my bank account for anything. How do you handle that one, Chris?
Well, the first thing is nobody's getting into your bank account, Adam. That's obviously not how this works. How it works is similar to how you get paid your Social Security. When you get paid, what day was it again?
I get paid on the third Wednesday.
There you go. On the third Wednesday, the government deposits the money into your account. They don't go into your account. They simply direct deposit the money. So on that same third Wednesday of next month, when you get paid, the insurance gets paid, and there's no room for error. Pretty simple process. So if you can go ahead and grab a statement for me while I get something out of my bag, we'll be able to keep this moving.
Yeah, that sounds good. And and again, I think a lot of times maybe agents will over explain when it
Mhm.
comes to that process. People know how these bills are paid these days. I mean, almost everything is paid that way, whether it's a cable bill, whether it's anything, your cell phone,
Exactly.
there's bills that they have already that are being paid that way.
Yeah, and
Um,
let's be realistic. There's bills that are getting paid that again they can't purchase the item if it's not on auto pay. Or if they say to you, "Well, I had something else mess up my account before, and that's why I don't want to do this." Draw the example that that's not the right thing. Like just because they messed up their cable bill doesn't mean this life insurance is the same product. Just because they messed up their cell phone bill doesn't mean this life insurance is the same thing. Oftentimes, these clients try to draw parallels in between inaccurate things together. And when you help them understand they're making a bad parallel, then they can move forward with what they know they need to do.
Well, yeah, we talked about this the other day. I mean, a cell phone bill, a cable bill. The difference between those bills and your life insurance is that the life insurance premium is locked in. That cable bill, it can go up. I mean, there is a possibility that they could get hit with a really big payment that comes out of their account that they were not anticipating. I'm sure they probably got an email about it. Maybe they just didn't see it. But anyways, I mean, where it could affect them, where they're upset because they had other bills, and now that bill that just took all that money is going to cause them to overdraft other bills that they have. But with the life insurance, great thing. The rates are locked in. There's never going to be any surprises. The rate today is what it's always going to be, unless you call me and tell me that you want to add to your coverage. But outside of that, it's always going to be that payment.
The other
So,
the other thing I like to do in this situation is not over explain like you said, because I think agents sometimes just need to shut up and say the very basic, and the more you say, the worse you make it. But if I'm going to story sell this objection, I like to say it like this. Adam, when you were my age, we're about the same age, but we're pretending. Back when you were young, the insurance man used to collect the payment in person, right? They come to the house, they sit down at the table, you'd pass over your $250 a week, we'd have a cup of coffee. You remember that, right? Perfect.
Yep.
Not how it works anymore. Obviously, it's not safe. There's too many of you. There's not enough of me. Doesn't work that way. And you know that. Before, after that, they used to be able to mail it in. They would put your little money order in an envelope, send it off to the company, and the secretary would take it out of the envelope and take it to the bank. There's nobody in an office taking things out of envelopes anymore. Since COVID, that's just not even a thing. So we can't do that. This is the only way that it's going to work. So if you'd like to set this up, this is really how it works. And when you don't give them an option, there is no option. Like, just tell them there is no other option. And if they want insurance, they're going to get it. And if they don't, they'll keep giving you stupid smoke screens.
Yeah, and just leave it at that. I have, painted pictures. Sometimes you put a little bit of fear in them. What happens if you got sick? What if you ended up in the hospital for an extended period of time and nobody was thinking about paying your bills? They were just worried about you. And I mean, you could end up losing your policy. You might come out of the hospital not even be in good enough health to be able to get it again. But as long as you know that it's always being paid for you every month, and it's very accurate. I mean, the same day you get your Social Security, this is always going to be paid for you. So again, sometimes that works too. Sometimes you have to use more than one. Sometimes you try, they come back and they still don't want, you got to try again with another one. So I think it's maybe good to be lined up with more than just one rebuttal to an objection, because they can come right back to you with something else, and you're going to have to figure out a way to say something else to try to move forward with the sale.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's see. What do we have next here? I thought it was free.
Adam, actually, it's better than free. Typically, we help people save money, and in other cases, even get money back. So I don't know anything better than getting money or saving money. Continue forward with the presentation from there. The further you talk, the worse you'll make it. Lightly touch on this objection because they know it's not free. They're like 70 years old. They're all older than you. They know there's no free insurance. This is all made up. Lightly touch on it and continue forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Illinois. I usually, and a lot of the times when they say I thought it was free, I thought it was something free from the government. I thought this was just a government benefit. That's what I get a lot.
And they even know that. They know that it's not free. They said this to the last person, and it scared away the last agent that didn't know what to say. They know it's not free. Like, stop fooling with yourself here. They fill out the same direct mail card every 3 months. I was sitting with a client last Thursday, and they showed me the next mailer that was in their house from the next person that sent it out. Like, let's be real. They know it's not free. And if you play into this trap, you're going to be the next one out the door.
Oh, yeah. I usually joke around with them. I say, oh, come on. I'm in Illinois. I say, oh, come on. The state of Illinois is so broke. You think they really have extra money laying around to give away people free life insurance? I said, if anything, that's why you need it, because there's really going to be nothing there for your family, when you pass away. So yeah, that's kind of how I handle it. And I always tell them, it's not a free benefit, but we are one of the companies. I'll say, this is how I put it. I say it's a government approved program, and that we are one of the agencies that helps with the marketing to provide these benefits to the people that reach out to us.
Yeah.
And they just simply say, oh, okay. And then you just kind of move on with the presentation. So let's see. And then I already have that.
Oh, that's okay. That's actually the old program that you're probably referring to. These are the new 2024 state regulated benefit programs for folks here in Illinois. So continue with the presentation from there.
It's as simple as that. And like I've said in the past, I always try to make what I'm selling a little bit different. It's great that you already have coverage. This one's designed to cover all the immediate expenses, because we don't know the one that you have. We don't know for sure how long that company is going to take to pay the claim. We work with companies that have a great history of paying those claims quickly, usually within 48 to 72 hours. So, this is one that most of our clients use as like their primary coverage. This is the one that's going to cover their funeral, their burial. And then they'll just use the other one to cover all the incidentals, because they don't really know how long that one's going to take to pay out.
Or the other way around. You already have something for your final expenses. Well, perfect. How this works is a little bit different. Now, you can dress up this doll however you want to make it. Just don't pigeonhole yourself into thinking all I can sell is this, because this can serve multiple purposes.
Yeah, there's many ways to make this different than anything they already have. And they could have a final expense policy. It could be with a company that you use, but you can still make what you're there to sell a little bit different. So let's see. Moving on. Can you come back?
Come back. Why?
Well, I mean, I got to pick up my kids at school in an hour and a half, and then I got to get to the doctor after that. I
Oh, no
really
big
have no
deal.
idea when I'm going to be back.
No big deal. This will take maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the most. Wouldn't be any need to come back because I'll be gone before you have to leave anyway. Did you want to sit inside or outside? It is kind of cold today.
Yeah, no, that's good. Again, it's we talk about this all the time, the smoke screens, and just can you come back? They hope you never come back. They hope
Exactly.
that by them telling you that you're never going to show up again. That's their goal. So, uh, and I know I mentioned this too on our podcast last week that I think sometimes too you can tell if the person's being genuine or if they're just trying to blow you off. If you show up at the door and it's a lady with curlers in her hair and she's in like her nightgown and robe, well, I don't think she's going anywhere. I think she's probably just hanging around at home. But like if someone like has their coat on and they got their keys in their hand and like you can tell like they're actually like in a hurry to get somewhere, well
Mhm.
then that's a little bit different. I will if in a scenario like that, I will try to make it the same day though. Um, okay, well you're heading out. When are you going to be getting back? Oh, you'll be back about 3. Sounds good. I'll see you about 3:15.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out here all day today.
I
Always
think
try
that's
for the
all.
damn day. If they're truly
Yeah.
interested, they'll be willing to sit with you that day.
Yeah. But the other part is you should be so busy. This is to the agent audience. I know you're incredibly busy. You don't even answer a text in the middle of the day. That's because you're focused on selling. It's amazing. You should be so busy you don't have the time to come back. And let's look at this a little bit bigger. There's 45 sales hours in a week between Monday and Friday. 45 hours. That's it. How many times are you going to keep coming back to the same person that still isn't there, that still wasn't going to talk to you? It's not worth it. Like you're there, the person is there. This is your best and only shot to give the presentation. And if you don't, take up the lead, throw it out in the trash in your car and go to the next person. You don't have a lot of time. And if you do, you've got a bigger problem than you even realize.
Yeah, that's kind of like going back to that first objection of I got to think about it. How I mentioned, yeah, we're so busy. The chances of writing business on that person is so slim, and you take the time to go back. If the person blew you off at the door, uh, if they didn't want to talk to you, there's a good chance you're just going to show up and they're going to see you standing out there. They're just not going to come to the door.
Exactly.
So again, yeah, you're right, Chris. You're probably wasting your time a lot of the time when you just keep making those efforts to go back. You got to do whatever you can to get in the home while you're there, and you got to stay in control. You're the one who's in control, not the prospect. Again, don't let them win. You want to be the one who wins by getting in and making that sale.
I like to say it pretty simple. Get in or get kicked out. Like get into the home or get kicked off the property. There is no middle ground. And as soon as you accept that mentality, you're going to get into more homes. You'll get kicked out of a few of them, but you'll also get into more in the process.
Most definitely. So I was just wondering what it was about. I
Oh,
don't want
these
to
are
buy
actually,
anything today.
yeah, I'm not actually selling anything today. That's even the best part. These are the new 2024 state regulated benefit programs that you had actually applied for and amazingly you were approved for. I just need a few minutes to go over it with you. Would you prefer to sit inside? Because it is kind of cold today.
Yeah, there you go. I pretty much say the same thing. I think we can move on. Pretty simple. Uh, I was just wondering what it's about. Yeah, that's why I'm here. I mean, they had asked for me to come by to go through this with you. I know there's a reason you send it back. So, next one. I need to talk to my daughter before I do anything.
Perfectly fine. What we're going to do is go through everything, get everything submitted, get you taken care of. When the policy comes in the mail, if she has any questions, just have her give me a call back. We'll do a FaceTime, a video call. I'll come in person. Whatever it is, we'll explain it to her at that point in time. But the reality is this is probably a smokescreen 99% of the time. Because as Adam and I said recently, both of our parents are in the final expense age demographic, and neither of our parents call us on a regular basis for basic business decisions. It doesn't happen. So if it doesn't happen in this segment, then it's not happening over there because they're making it up. If they do actually need to talk to somebody about it, challenge them on it. Adam, you need to talk to your daughter about it. Go ahead, give her a call right now. I'll explain everything to her as quick as possible, and we'll get her thumbs up to go ahead with the process.
Now, Chris, do you ever ask when you get there before even going through your presentation? Now, is there anybody else involved with your decision making, or do you pretty much handle your own business?
If I get the impression like they're borderline not competent, like there's other people providing day-to-day care for them, if there's a spouse that's missing, then I might ask that question. But realistically, I believe that 99% of the people we're sitting in front of do make their own decisions. There isn't anybody else to talk to about it, and they're just saying that to try to see if we'll go away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't say it all the time. I mean, I saw a presentation in the past. It was like they would always ask that, and I just I don't really see the kind of like same as you when the person maybe maybe they just don't seem like they're 100% there. I was in a house last week. I mean, the lady like just kept asking questions. They're like, "What was I getting up to do? What was what was this about? Weren't you just here?" Like, I'm like, something ain't right here. Like, I really don't feel like I want to move forward talking to this person without someone else being here.
Yeah.
So little scenarios like that, I'll usually ask. But yeah, the whole got to talk to my kids about it. You're right. It's a smoke screen most of the time. And I do like to paint pictures a lot when it comes to this and kind of put that story in front of them. And I'll tell them even past experiences. Like, I understand, like, this is important to you and it should be important to your kids. But in my experience, most of my clients, when they tell me that they got to talk to their kids about it, they talk to their kids about it, and their kids end up talking them out of it. And that's the last thing that you want to happen, because this is something that you're doing for your kids. And this is something that's going to help them when they need that. So maybe right now they don't see the need because you're here. But when you're not here, they're going to wish that you probably had more insurance. That's, when I've had clients that have passed away, I've met with their kids, and that's usually what I get is their kids tell me, you know what? I wish she would have had more coverage. It's great that she had what she had, but we probably could have used a little bit more.
Yeah.
So think of this as like the last gift that you're going to be leaving your kids. So let's just move forward today, get it done. When you get your policy, I'd be happy to come back and even review it with them. And I'm sure that they would agree that you made the right decision.
Yeah, I will add one parallel to this, though, because I think a lot of agents use the language barrier as a reason why they weren't successful from one week to the next in different markets, especially like urban Hispanic markets and such. In those situations, there's probably someone that filled out the lead card for them that handles most of their business for them. And if you can find that person, it's the most persistent business you'll ever write. And a lot of times in ethnic communities where people don't speak English as a primary language, there's usually somebody in that neighborhood or in that family that helps them translate. So find that person who speaks English in the neighborhood for you here. And before you know it, they're walking you across the street to the person who does the translation, who filled out this lead card for you. They do need this person, and they're going to help you with that policy. I even see it on Medicare leads and like demographics you don't see in final expense, and it's still true. Someone translates for them in the family or in the neighborhood. They do need someone. You just have to find that person in these unique situations.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Because you'll get leads. I mean, I've had leads. I don't speak Spanish. But I'll go up to a house and maybe it's a Spanish family, Hispanic family. And I'll show the lead card, and yeah, the person, they might act like they can't speak English. And again, that right there, that's kind of the same thing, like an objection to try to get you to get moving. But somebody there can read English and told this person that they needed to fill the card out and send it back in.
I think also, not to get completely off track, sometimes the I don't speak this language isn't really as factual as I don't feel comfortable conversing with you in English and I'm nervous I'm going to embarrass myself. And I'll say in those situations, I take your time, no big deal. I don't speak much Spanish, you don't speak much English, but we'll figure this out together. And before you know it, you're talking calm, quiet, giving a presentation, and they're buying insurance. So they do speak a little bit of English sometimes.
There's an app you can get on your phone too called Google Translate. I used it the other day. In a scenario like that, if the person doesn't understand English and you have a pretty good idea they're speaking Spanish, you can talk into Google Translate in English and you can play it back to them with your phone on speaker in Spanish.
Exactly.
So, and then they can speak into it and come back in English. So, just a very helpful tool in some scenarios. It's kind of hard to do a whole presentation that way,
You get the point.
but at
Get
least,
the point out.
it'll at least get you to the person that filled the card out, that you can talk to, that more than likely speaks English, that told them to fill the card out.
Adam,
So
I gave an entire presentation in Vietnamese before. I don't speak any Vietnamese. I had no idea what was going on. But Google Translate translated enough Vietnamese to say, go get your red, white, and blue card and help them. I mean, a lot of times the people with language barriers need the most assistance, and we're just looking for an excuse to say we can't help them. Like, be a little bit creative and find the opportunity to help these people that are extremely underserved in many situations.
yeah, I mean, the house I was in, I was using that Google Translate. They were like very appreciative. They were like, that I was willing to kind of take that step to help them. And because they'd never really seen anybody kind of go that far with it. And even, I'll even attempt as much as I can to speak the very little amount of Spanish that I know. But just even given like that little effort, I think they appreciate it, that
Absolutely.
you're trying to communicate with them as best as you can. So, all right. So what's next here? I never do anything on the first visit. And I never do anything, I got to look at everything first. I never just make a decision on the first visit.
I think part of what I do might not work for everybody because you have to figure out who you are as a character in this presentation. You can't be me. You can't be Adam. You have to be yourself, find some happy medium. But when some people say things like this to me, I just look at them kind of stupid. I'm like, huh? What? Like, look at them like they just said something stupid. And I mean this in a respectful way in case anybody ever sees this video as a client. But like, they're saying something that doesn't make any sense. Hey, of course you do things on the first day. You eat the first time you've seen food. You don't have to think about going to the bathroom. You don't have to debate going to the store. Of course they make these kind of same day decisions. It doesn't make any sense. So before you think, how do I overcome this objection? Realize this objection doesn't make any sense. And then maybe look at a way to overcome it and say, Adam, I understand. What we're going to do here is I'm going to go explain the information. I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to see how I can help you. And then if you have questions about it, I'll be happy to answer it. But don't fall into the trap, like realistically here.
It really is a trap. And they're always going to have a notepad, and they're always just going to be jotting down as many notes as they can. Like, this is going to make this guy think I'm really serious. And, it's going to get him to get right out of here without me having to do anything today. They look real busy, taking all their notes and making sure they have everything down. How often do you get a call back?
It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. And if you start letting them treat you like that, you're not gonna help anybody. Like, it is all or nothing in this situation.
Yep. Why didn't you call me before just showing up?
We actually did. You probably didn't answer the number when we called. So we're here just to make sure you didn't miss out on the information you had requested. Realistically, if you're just door knocking, you could also try. You're probably like myself. You don't answer strange numbers. We probably did call and you didn't answer. So I came out to make sure that you got your information. There's a couple different ways you can handle this one. It's like the ever popular, I thought you were going to send something in the mail. Well, Adam, unfortunately, I didn't fit in your mailbox when they tried. So they sent me out here to make sure you got your information.
Yeah. I mean, that's, again, I mean, you know what? Honestly, these days, people don't answer their phones. I mean, I don't even feel like we're being dishonest telling them that we did call first. Most of the time, I probably did make an attempt, either myself or an appointment setter, to try to reach the people by phone. They're just not answering. So yeah, I mean, we did try calling you. I know that there was a reason that you had requested this information, And I had a lot of trouble getting a hold of you. I wanted to reach you while I was out here today because I know this is important. It takes about maybe 10 minutes to go over. Can I come in? So same thing, it's just a way to try to shoo the agent away with where they don't know what to say. And you just, again, if you're professional about it and you kind of know how to overcome these things, they're like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Come on in. You're right. I never answer my phone. Let's see. I don't care what my family does with me when I'm dead. They can throw me out in the backyard for all I care.
Adam, you live in an apartment complex. There's no backyard to put you in. It doesn't even make any sense. Again, I look at people like dumbfounded when they say dumb things because it doesn't make any sense. Adam, do you own or rent? You rent? You can't put you. That doesn't make any sense. Like realistically, if you die, if you went to the hospital right now and you went by ambulance, who would they call? Your daughter? Okay. Would you want to leave your daughter a $10,000 bill when you didn't come home from the hospital because you died? You don't. All right, and let's talk about how to solve that problem. But if they really don't care and they really are that ignorant, leave. Like grab your stuff, don't say another word, and walk out the door. You should have enough leads to want to talk to legitimate conversations and not try to beat blood out of a stone. Some people really don't care, and that's not the person you're there to talk to.
I agree. Again, you can only try so hard with some people. And I mean, I'll even tell them this is something that's very important. And if you really feel that way, to me, that's kind of like a selfish attitude. I mean, you're not really looking out for your family. I want to work with people that are willing, that see the value in this, that want to be helping their family because they see the importance of this. So You're right. I mean, not all people we talk to, maybe we want to do business with, and maybe, maybe you end up selling that person, but it could also be a lapse waiting to happen.
Yeah, not everybody is a client, and that's okay. If you buy enough leads, if you knock enough doors, if you dial enough phones, if you work enough days, you'll find the right kind of people, and you can't make everybody your client.
Exactly. And then I'm just going to donate my body to science. I don't think I need that.
Boy, that was the one that we had like the most viral clicks on. Was it
we did.
TikTok or Facebook stories, or what was it that got like 4,000 views off of this one reply?
I don't know. I think I had the short on YouTube. I had it on TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we got tons of views on it. Yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes you wonder how people see the stuff, and like one person sees it. I have no idea, but yeah, it got a lot of views. So
realistically, if people are actually registered body donors, they have an actual card or some proof that they're registered for some type of body donation service. So call them on it. Okay, Adam, that's beautiful and amazing that you want to donate your body to science. Can I see the membership card? You don't have one. All right, then continue forward. This is not a real objection. They're just saying something because it worked on the last person. If they actually do, there are several reasons why a body donation service can't accept your remains. Let's go over a couple of them, Adam, because maybe you've never heard of them before. Number one, you die of an infectious disease. Remember COVID? Like you die and they don't know what you're infected with. They're probably not going to accept you. Two, you die in some type of criminal or unwitnessed death. Like you have to go to the medical examiner first, and they have to go through it like a criminal investigation. Then they can't accept you immediately into a body donation service. Three, you're too big. Like you're not too big right now, but what happens if all of a sudden you put on 400 pounds and you don't fit in the thing that they put people in? That would be a problem, right? Four, you die I kind of answered this one already, but you die unwitnessed. Like your wife and kids go away for the weekend. They come back 4 days later and they find you dead, like way dead, like gross dead. They can't accept you if you've already started decomposing. I mean, I hate to be honest with you, but have you thought of any of these reasons?
Yeah, no.
Okay, well then let's look at a plan in case any of these things happen, because if they do, you'll need something to cover as a backup plan, okay?
Yeah, and these are some realistic scenarios. It's not like something that, what are the chances of that actually happening? I mean, these are
Very
some
likely.
realistic things that people don't think about. They just think, oh, anybody can just donate their body to science, but that's not really the case.
Yeah. And
So
sometimes they're getting donation and organ donor mixed up. It's not the same thing. But let's also look at it realistically. This is a senior market. Many of them are lonely. Many of them live alone. Many of them, being a former paramedic, die alone and aren't discovered until the next day. They're not going to take decomposing bodies to body donation. It's not how that works, to the best of my knowledge. And what happens, Adam, if you die more than 100 miles away from wherever you're signed up? Then they have to transport your remains back to where you are. And if they don't get there in time, it doesn't work. What if, Adam, the body donation service is full? Like there's no room in the inn, not the nativity story, like your dad's story. There's no room in the inn. What are they going to do? They're going to say, we can't accept you. We got to have some kind of a backup plan in place. So let's take a look and see what you qualify for, okay?
yeah, I mean, you can even be compassionate about it. I mean, it's great that you want to do that. It's great that you're willing to do that, but there's no guarantee, that it's actually gonna work, that it's actually gonna happen. So no, I like the idea of having that backup plan for sure. And even if it works and you are able to donate your body like that, if that's your final wish, I'm sure there's still going to be some expense involved to your family, and then they're going to appreciate that you had a policy to kind of help them with a lot of the different incidentals and things like that.
And realistically, if they can't name a beneficiary, like you're early on in the presentation, you're asking them if you had insurance and you died today, who would it be left to? If they can't name anybody, it's sad, it's tragic, it's real life in some situations. They also probably don't have a need for what you're selling. Like there are people that really don't need this, as sad as it is, and you can't force their cat into being the beneficiary. the that friends, brothers, cousins, is probably not good business. And unfortunately, again, not everybody needs what we have.
Makes sense. And then let's see. I'm going to get to our comments here. We did have a few, or at least one. Someone said, and this is one that's going to be coming up here pretty soon there. So thank you for this. Anything, let's see. The objection is that they want to wait until after the holidays. Right now, I'm just not ready yet. I want to wait until after the holidays.
The holiday objection coming to you next week. I love the holiday objection because it's, again, completely made up. These folks depend on some fallback objection, just like they're on trainings right now thinking, how can they beat the salesman? They've got a list of them. It's too early in the year. It's too late in the year. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's COVID. It's Christmas. There's so many of them. And guess what? They're all made up. Once you get to like this December 3rd, Adam, that's no big deal. These plans actually start next year anyway, so you won't have to worry about how it affects Christmas at all. Or you start using carriers with a 45-day post dating if necessary in those very rare circumstances. Or you explain to them, Adam, here's the problem. Most of these plans change at the end of the year. Many of the rates go up. Many of the plans are taken off of the market. We won't even know what's available for you at that point. So let's at least get something in place now, because this may not be available for you later on.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Go over to my website, adambrsan.com too. I actually wrote a blog on this topic a few years ago. It actually might maybe more than a few years ago now, but I think it's all still pretty relevant. But yeah, that's, it's a common objection that we get at the end of the year. And it is just another reason to try to get the agent to walk away. Okay, I'll call you after the new year. But like what you said, a lot of the times, again, it's almost like going back to the whole, I got to think about it. Well, it's about the money, and we don't need the money today. I mean, I've been in a lot of houses of my clients on the 23rd of December, maybe even on Christmas Eve, where they're like, yeah, we got to go out and get Christmas presents. Like it just struck them. Christmas is in 2 days. Like they're really not, and unfortunately they're on a fixed income. It's not like they have all this extra money laying around where they're going out and buying a whole bunch of presents for people. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So it's not like they have all this extra money that they were planning on purchasing all these gifts with. They have their budget. They know how much money they have coming in every month. There's really not usually a whole lot left over. If anything, there's just enough for maybe a monthly premium to cover their final expenses. So
again, logical versus emotional. They're trying to give you a logical explanation to an emotional purchase. Like realistically, logically, mathematically, they probably shouldn't be buying what we're selling. The numbers probably don't work, probably can't afford it. There's all these things that logically don't make a darn bit of sense. But this is an emotional purchase. They're emotionally going to buy Christmas presents that they can't afford and shouldn't have, or kids are going to lose. They're going to emotionally purchase life insurance if you don't fall for the bull crap.
Yep. So let's see. I don't think that there are any more. Let's see. Let me double check here. Yeah, it doesn't look like we really have any more. I don't know if there's any others that come to mind for you, Chris. I think we covered quite a bit though. And again, and hold on, let's before we sign off here, again, I did want to mention our podcast that we did start. I'd recommend subscribe. I love listening to content when I am out in the field working during the day. It's pretty much all I listen to are different podcasts, different audio books, all things to kind of keep my head in the right mindset and to kind of keep me moving throughout the day. It can be a long day. So, and I always say, the more you can learn, of course, the better you're going to get. You can never really stop learning. So, all of our trainings that we do on Mondays, Chris has a daily call. We're going to be adding those on shortly as well. And as well as some of the other guests that Chris has had on some of his other podcasts. And we'll be more than likely interviewing even other people throughout the industry and things like that as we go. But yeah, check it out. I think so far we have 3 or 4 episodes loaded. I will be loading more than likely a few more today. The goal is to get one out there every day, or at least 3 to 4 a week is really my goal. So as I mentioned earlier, on Spotify, on Apple, on Amazon Music, and we greatly appreciate your help with that as well. And when you get on there, follow it or subscribe to it. Feel free to leave any comments as well if you have any ideas for future episodes, as well as we have the YouTube channel. I have my own Adam Brsan, and then we also have the Insurance Life and Everything in Between YouTube channel as well. So lots of good content on each of them. So I would recommend to hop on there and if you've yet to subscribe to those, and again, my trainings every single Monday morning are loaded onto YouTube. So check those out. And then like I mentioned, the audio will be loaded onto the Insurance Life and Everything in Between podcasts as well. And then you can also sign up for future trainings, adambrsan.com. Fill in your name and email. You will get an email every week so you know what the topic is. And again, we can never really stop learning. It doesn't matter if you're new or if you've been in the business a long time. Heck, maybe you're in a slump and you just need to figure out a way to get out of it. Hop on the trainings. You can always go back to if you hop on the YouTube, and there's a lot of different topics like that on there to help you. Yeah, thanks again. Appreciate all you guys. And thanks again, Chris, for helping on, or for helping out and hopping on this morning. Appreciate your help. And I think agents appreciate it as well with the years of experience we both have. I mean, there's a lot of content there that can greatly help like I said, whether they're new, whether they've been in the business a while. I think we talk about a lot of topics too that you don't really see a whole lot of content on. So, but yeah, thanks again. Appreciate your help. And I hope y'all have a great week. Feel free to reach out to myself, or if you're one of Chris's agents, reach out to him, and we'd be more than happy to help you, answer any questions. And that's what we're here to do, is help and support you and see to it that you have a long-term successful career. So
absolutely.
All right. Thanks again. You guys have a great week.